Sophia sat in the corner of the little coffee shop, her eyes lost in a book but her heart not really in it. The bell on the door chimed softly and she looked up, almost instinctively, and that was the moment she saw him. Ethan walked in, tall, broad-shouldered, his presence commanding attention without even trying. His eyes searched the room for a free table, and for a brief second they landed on hers. It wasn't just a glance, it was a pause, a hesitation, like time itself wanted to hold them together. Sophia's breath caught in her throat, her cheeks warming as she quickly lowered her eyes to the pages. She hadn't read in minutes, but inside her chest something stirred, something she hadn't felt before. Ethan ordered his coffee, and when he turned back, his gaze once again found her. This time he smiled, not bold or arrogant, but soft and warm, the kind of smile that felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. Sophia's heart skipped, and though she tried to act calm, her fingers nervously played with the edge of her cup. He walked past her table, and she could feel the faint brush of his presence, the subtle scent of his cologne lingering in the air. She swallowed hard, pretending to keep reading, but every sense in her body screamed for her to look up again. When she finally did, he had chosen a seat not far from hers, positioned perfectly where he could glance at her without making it obvious. Their eyes met again, and this time neither of them looked away. There was no need for words, no introduction. Something unspoken sparked between them. Her lips curled into the faintest smile, and he mirrored it with a quiet lift of his brow, as though sharing a secret only they understood. But watching from another corner of the shop was Isabella, Sophia's younger sister. She noticed everything, the nervous way Sophia's hands trembled, the softness in Ethan's gaze, the invisible thread tying them together. Instead of joy for her sister, jealousy twisted in her stomach. Her eyes narrowed, her lips pressed into a thin line. She couldn't bear the thought of Sophia holding the kind of attention she craved for herself. And in that single moment, as Ethan and Sophia silently fell into a rhythm that neither could deny, Isabella made up her mind. If her sister had found someone who could make her feel alive, then she would take him away, not out of love, but out of envy. For Sophia, it was the beginning of a love that felt written in fate, but for Isabella, it was the beginning of a dangerous game that would test the bond of blood and the strength of a forbidden romance. The night was alive with the sound of rain, heavy drops falling against the rooftop as thunder rolled in the distance. Sophia stepped into the backyard, her dress clinging to her skin, every inch of her trembling from the chill of the storm. The lights strung above glowed faintly, flickering against the misty night air. And in that fragile glow stood Ethan. His eyes widened when he saw her, soaked and shivering, strands of her hair sticking to her face, her lips trembling from both cold and nerves. Without hesitation, he shrugged off his jacket and moved closer, his hands brushing against her shoulders as he placed it gently around her. The warmth of his touch sent shivers racing through her, not from the cold, but from the undeniable pull she felt every time he was near. She looked up at him, her lashes wet with rain, and for a long moment they simply stood in silence, the storm around them fading into the background. Ethan's fingers lingered against her arms, his eyes locked with hers, deep and searching, as though he wanted to read every secret she had ever hidden. Sophia's heart pounded wildly in her chest, each beat begging her to close the space between them. But fear and desire clashed inside her. Ethan leaned in slowly, his breath warm against her ear as he whispered, "You don't even know how much I want to protect you, how much I need you." The words broke the dam she had been holding inside, and before she could think, their lips met. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was fierce, hungry, the kind of kiss that stripped away every barrier and left only raw emotion. Sophia clung to him, her hands gripping his shirt as if letting go would mean losing him forever. Ethan's arms wrapped tightly around her waist, pulling her closer, erasing the cold, erasing the storm, leaving nothing but heat and passion. In that moment, the world disappeared. There was only them, bound together under the rain, consumed by a love that had been silently burning since the day they first met. But just beyond the shadows stood Isabella, her eyes wide and burning with rage. She had followed quietly, and now she watched the two of them locked, in an embrace she had dreamed of for herself. Her nails dug into her palms as tears mixed with fury, because deep down she knew Ethan would never look at her the way he looked at Sophia. The kiss that sealed their love shattered her heart, twisting her envy into bitterness. For Sophia and Ethan, it was the beginning of something unbreakable. But for Isabella, it was the moment she realized she had lost not just the man she desired, but the battle for love itself.